Good morning, students. In the last class, yesterday we discussed about teaching prose and lesson plan format. I want to recall once again the lesson plan format. A good plan is like a checklist. From it, we come to know about the teacher, the pupils, and the subject unit. The methods of teaching shown in the lesson plan helps a person to judge what the pupils will be doing and how they will be learning. The lesson plan most contain the following details regarding the lesson. First one is the general information about the name of the trainee, name of the school, standard of pupils, subject, topic, unit, date, period, and time. Based on the standard of the class and the duration of the lesson, the teacher has to decide the level and amount of teaching. The general and the specific objectives of teaching the particular learning unit have to be stated. These indicate the purpose of the lesson and will be helpful for the teacher in planning the matter and a procedure for the lesson towards the eventual achievement of the objectives. Third one is the various teaching learning aids have to be shown. A carefully prepared list of AV aids help the teacher in deciding the various sensory perceptions that pupils will be gaining. When the teacher decides even earlier the use of AV aids, he can add to the effect of his teaching. The lesson plan in the 4 columns deals with the 4 main aspects at teaching the various specific behaviors. In the first column, steps or content are specified. Under the second column, the specifications are listed, that is learning outcome of that part of the lesson. It is here that the teacher specifies the exact matter to be learned. Fifth one is the third column describes the learning experiences the pupils are to get in the process of the lesson. Here the teacher has to plan the various learning activities to be carried out in the class. This gives the task of the teacher as well as the taught. The method of procedure along with the aids are indicated here when and how the aids are to be used is maintained here. The teacher prepares for the possible activities. Sixth one is the fourth and last column deals with the evaluation in the learning outcomes. Evaluation techniques are used for testing the pupils' achievement. The teacher should see that all the pupils are tested. In framing the evaluation questions, it has to be borne in mind that the learning outcome which is shown by the specific behavior aimed at. And finally, the mode of review and the follow-up work for the pupils are given. Though the lesson format is same for all aspects of teaching English, the steps may vary. In the last class yesterday, we discussed about teaching prose. Today, we are going to discuss about teaching poetry. S.T. Coleridge defined poetry as the best words in their best order. Robert Frost says, poetry begins in delight and ends in wisdom. The worth quotable quotation is from Wordsworth. A spontaneous overflow of powerful emotions recollected in tranquility. The important mode of expression is language is poetry. The teaching of poetry is justified because the beautiful words of the poetry set the student in harmony. In teaching poetry, it is important that the people sees the colors, feel the joys and sorrows, hear the sound, smell the odors, and taste the foods that the poet speaks about. The choice of poetry is an important factor. The poems should be easy to understand and suitable to the age group of the peoples. Short poems with stories are preferred. Poems having an Indian background is more suitable. Hardo says, poetry teaching is like making love. Each must do in his own way. In general, we follow the following steps to write a lesson plan for poetry. Motivation. It means introduction also. Appropriate and brief introduction is given to create the proper atmosphere for the study of the poem. Biographical details of the author can be used when his life is referred to. Historical poems can be introduced with a reference to history. Thus, the central idea is brought out. Next stage, presentation, the development of the poem. The poem can always be presented with the model reading by the teacher. This is done when the pupils close their books and listen to. Correct pronunciation and stress are followed. To bring out the meaning and feeling, the teacher uses gestures, aviates, and drawings. Make them to feel the effect of the poem with the rhythm and the rhyme. The study of the poem begins after silent and loud reading. Difficult words and lines are explained to get the depth of the meaning. No drill should be given in the usage of new words. Proper connection and association should be used to bring out the beauties of the poem. Appreciation of the poem is a must. Dramatization can be used effectively. The pupils are asked to read the poem again for enjoyment. Elicit answers on figures of speech, simile, metaphor, inversions, etc. And the third stage, review. It means recapitulation. Textual and examination based review questions are given to test the overall achievement of the lesson. Comparison with similar poems can be discussed. Question on the theme can be asked for. And finally, follow-up works, assignments. The students are given homework also. Ask them to memorize certain stanzas or the whole poem. Give short answer questions for paraphrase. Questions on appreciation are important. Ask them to locate the figures of speech and find out the rhyming words. All these are done to remind what all things were taught to them. Thank you.